All right, so this is a video to help you review for the solving equations unit test. So just like the unit test, there's a bunch of answers at the top. It says all equations to the test review come out to integers. One equation may be used more than once. And looking at this, it looks like 3 of them are used more than once. So the first type was just simplifying and then solving. So you got to combine like terms, make sure if it has a negative, you combine negative 10x and 6x to be negative 4x, and then plus the 8, minus 8 on both sides. You're left with negative 4x equals 24. Divide each side by negative 4, and you're left with negative 6. Number 2, this one, make sure you distribute the negative 3. So negative 3 times m is negative 3m. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. A lot of people just put positive 27. You add 27 to both sides, and you're left with 54. Divide by the negative 3, you get negative 18. Then we introduce variables on both sides. You always want to get rid of the smaller variable term first. So I subtract this 2x, and I do it to the other side, keep my variables together. I'm left with 3x. Then I minus the 12 to get negative 21, and then divide by 3 to get rid of that multiply by 3, and I get negative 7. Same thing, but now you got to distribute first. So after you distribute, you get 6x minus 12. Then you, again, this one's smaller. Negative 2x is smaller than positive 6x, so I add 2x to both sides, left with 8x, minus the 12. Sorry, plus 12 to get rid of minus 12. You always do the opposite to get rid of when you're canceling things out and solving equations. But if you do it to one side, you do it to the other. You get 48 divided by 8 is 6. Number 5, it's pretty much the same as number 4, except when you distribute, this is negative 6x and this is a negative times negative, which is positive 36. Here's the difference. So now look at this. When you're deciding which one's smaller, they're both the same. So you add 6x to both sides and they completely cancel out. You're just left with 34 equals 36. That is false. That is not true. So you write no solution for those. Number 6, you got to combine some like terms on the left side. So on this side, you're combining the negative x and the 5x. You get 4x. 10 plus 3 is 13. And then you do the normal. This one is smaller. Negative 8x is smaller than positive 4x. So you add 8x to both sides. Get 12x plus 13. And just solve like you normally would. Minus 12 to get rid, minus 13 to get rid of the plus 13. 12x equals 1 minus 13 is negative 12. And then you divide each side by 12 and you get negative 1. All right, so this part of the test, this was probably one of the harder questions on the test, and this is one similar. Because you have to, before you can start clearing these fractions, you have to multiply everything. You have to distribute. And this is a fraction times a whole number. You have to turn it into a fraction by putting it over 1. And then, so now you just multiply 3/5 times 5 over 1. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 15 is 45. 5 times 1 is 5. You clear, and then if you clear this, you're probably going to want to do it this way on the test, so I'll show it to you. You clear it, you multiply everything by the least common denominator. There's only one denominator, it's 5, so I just clear it. Boom, 5, 5, multiply everything by 5, including this negative 12. And so I'm left with 15x plus 45. This clears with this, plus 45 equals negative 60. Then I minus 45 here, both sides. 15x equals negative 105. When you divide by 15, you get negative 7 for that. Yeah, negative 7. There's one on the test like this. Notice only there's one fraction. But to clear that one fraction, you multiply everything by 10. So I multiply everything by 10. And this 10 clears that 10, and you're left with 3x minus 20 minus 80. Plus 20 to both sides, you get negative 60. Divide by 3, you get negative 20. Then we add this question. Same thing, but now there's variables on both sides, but there's only 2 denominators. They're both 3s, so my LCD is going to multiply everything by 3. Pause the video here if you're confused, because if you just watch how I get from here to here. So like, yeah, you just clear it out. So everything gets multiplied by 3. That's just going to be 4x. 4 times 3 is 12. That's going to clear and be 5. And then 3 times x is negative 3x there. This one's smaller. So opposite of minus than 3x is plus 3x. 7x is there. Then I minus the 12, divide by the 7, I get negative. There's one on the test that's like this. This is the first one on the test and on the review where the denominators are different. So you have sixths and thirds. The least common denominator is 6. So we learned when you multiply everything by little sixes, you can do 6 times 5 is 30 divided by 6, which is 5. 6 times 2 is 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Or you could do the G method, if you remember that. You do 6 divided by 3, which is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. This is just going to be 6x. 6 times 1 is 6, divided by 3 is 2. So it's, again, you either multiply and then divide, or you divide and then multiply, divide, and then multiply. Regardless, it clears it out to something like this, and you solve, and you get x equals 6. The last ones, these are fractions. I'm sorry, decimals. So you just think even on the test, the most you're going to have to multiply by is 10 to clear these tenths, but you got to multiply everything by 10. So anytime you multiply by 10, it moves the decimal over 1. And so it clears out to this, and then you solve it, and you get negative 4. Same thing here. You multiply it all by 10, you get 3. Sorry, I'm running out of time to make this video. I'm sorry if I'm rushing for whoever's watching it. Number 13. This one comes up on the test too. If you notice, subtract 6x on both sides because they're the same. Neither is bigger or smaller. You're left with negative 2 equals negative 2. That's a true statement. So it's infinite solutions. Again, if it's the same thing on both sides, it's infinite. Oh, I'll tell you this. On the test, a lot of people would be like negative 3x equals 3. Right, infinite solutions. Not true. You divide by negative 3, there's an actual x there, and you're left with x equals negative 1. So it's only infinite solutions if the x's cancel out, and you're just left with 2 integers that are the same, that are equal to each other. Hope this helps you review for the test.